sometimes we need to just get into it right away, and sometimes
I think you just got to feel it out, with whoever it is. Maybe you can tell that they're more of a defensive person and they kind of stick to themselves, so you got to pry into them a little bit. Speaking of that, maybe Brandon, here we go. This is what I wanted to get into.
Yep, my neck was hurting. Joy's your elbow, your arm.
Yep.
My back was tight.
Where is this gonna go?
Yeah.
It's
a good date idea. It's a good thing to go do.
A good what?
A good date idea
that?
We don't have.
I was gonna say, what's that? What's a date?
Take notes, ladies.
Yeah, is this where we blow up? Is this the one?
Joey's.
This is the one.
1 million views. Welcome back to another episode of the Campfire Council podcast. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it. Today's going to be a little bit different. We got
a little different.
We got good old Joey's and myself, Luke.
Guys, we're short-staffed.
Yep.
We had to make some massive changes in the Campfire Council.
Massive cuts. They just weren't performing up to par.
And I'm glad it's just us. This is how we envisioned it. We're really only in it for ourselves.
Yeah, we only used them to get the extra attraction,
the
extra fans, and then we cut them just so it can just be you and I. So
yeah, here we are.
Yeah, but just today we got Joyce and I, so it's gonna be a little bit different, but it's still gonna be really good. We're gonna give it a go with just the two of us, so we'll see how it goes.
It's gonna be fun.
But yeah, we actually just got back.
That's what I was gonna say.
Last night. Joy's, Wes, and I.
Oh my gosh, dude, that car ride was so long.
Yeah, it was from a trip out to the East Coast area, which was amazing. It was our first time, the three of us, actually going. Well, first we went through Canada, went over to Vermont and Massachusetts.
Yeah, dude. We saw Niagara Falls, and that place was beautiful. If you never get the chance to get out there, do it, because, wow, yeah, Niagara Falls was cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys liked it too, because I don't want to hype it up too much and get you guys overexcited, but I think it met your expectations.
Yeah, I honestly thought it was going to be smaller. Like I pictured the American side that you were saying that was going to be it, but once you got to the Canadian side, kind of closer, you can really see how big it actually was.
Yeah, it was. I saw it back when I was 10 or 11, I think, with my family on a trip, and it was awesome. But seeing it again was beautiful. I'm glad you guys got to experience it. We got to see the lights too at night.
Yep, that was a cool. Yeah, that was a cool part.
If you ever go to Niagara Falls, go see it at night too. They light it up with some awesome lights, and then seeing obviously during the daylight is awesome. But
yeah, and then Vermont, which was insane. I mean, I was so excited. So we went to it's one property. It's called Smuggler's Notch in Vermont, and if you're a disc golfer, it's the place to be, because it's the most breathtaking disc golf course that I've ever been to. I'd put it easily in my top 3, if not the top course. Very challenging course as we soon got to realize, but just the whole landscape being in the Green Mountains is incredible. We went at the perfect time of the year, so the Disc Golf Pro Tour was there the week before, and so everything was in perfect condition as it should be. And then yeah, just the leaves, changing those yellows and oranges and a little bit of red in there. Ooh.
Yeah, if you guys get a chance to go out east to that area, because I haven't done much traveling over there. We've gone a couple times out west, and I've been out west even more, a couple more times with my family. But I was expecting it to be beautiful, just with some nice color looking trees. But with the Green Mountains and just the rolling hills was just so beautiful. And being out in the woods, and was it Fox was the other course?
Yeah, Foxthorn Meadows.
Yep. Just going through the woods there was just so incredibly beautiful. And also Massachusetts really surprised me. I thought it was going to be
yeah, me too.
Kind of boring, just kind of beautiful trees, but same thing, a lot of rocks in the courses, a lot of beautiful rolling hills and lakes. Lakes and rivers was sick. But no animals. There are no animals in.
We saw some dead porcupines and stuff, and
some turkeys,
some skunks, some turkeys, but nothing Squirrels. Crazy. No moose, which was a little disappointing. But
still no bears. We have yet.
Yeah, that's true.
We want to see a bear so bad in one of our trips, and we've been to Colorado.
Yep.
We went through Colorado twice.
Mm-hmm.
Utah.
Yep.
And even through Canada, nothing.
Yeah.
No bear.
Which that was an easy process to get through the border and all that.
Yeah, it just took a little bit on the way going back into the U.S. took longer.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Right.
But
Totally.
yeah, that drive, though, on the way back,
Yeesh.
we broke it up on the way there into like 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
which was nice. Stopped in, in Canada, Niagara Falls. But on the way back, we just powered through about 16-ish hours.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And just went. And we've done that before, too, from Colorado, about 16-ish hours. But it's so long.
Yeah, it's like you kind of forget. So, like, we woke up at 4 a.m. and then we left by 5. But you almost kind of forget, like, when your day started or what day it actually is. Because, like, leaving it that early, going from dark to dark because, the days are getting shorter.
Yep.
It was interesting.
You feel weird. It's hard to walk at first. You get out of the car and, like, the brakes
gas stops,
and you feel like you're in a different universe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or you just pee into a bottle at the border, which I did.
Yes.
Which is
really, and you have a pee bottle really funny. The car.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. Like we were in line for the border, so like, what else am I supposed to do?
It did take a while. It took a minute.
Yeah, because like the high pressure of peeing into the bottle, and then like 2, I was in the back seat, so like I had to put a sweatshirt up in the window of the car, and then just going pee was hard.
It worked out though. It worked.
But yeah, it did work.
Yeah, so that was a great trip. We literally
totally
just disc golfed and had energy drinks and a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it was perfect. A lot of beautiful.
The other course was Maple Hill. So if you're a disc golfer, know Maple Hill.
Yes.
Nothing needs to be said there. But
isn't it rated the number 1 disc golf course?
Number 1 disc golf course in U.S. and then number 4 in the world. So that was like peak disc golf right there.
Yeah. And for me, if I ever forgot that I'm not a pro, these courses all reminded me that I'm not a pro.
Yeah, I definitely got that that feeling of how consistent they are.
Yeah.
Being, doing something for weeks on end, and it's just like complete, like always grinding out your sport and like just everything in repetition of like, you don't get good at something, like, yes, you can be naturally good at something, but you have to like keep putting in that practice week in and week out.
With anything.
Yeah.
Literally anything.
True.
Like, I definitely made some improvements of just like how to play my game. It's
totally
just like anything. It's like learning you can't make these huge jumps and expect yourself to automatically be better or play at the level of someone else. And not just with disc golf, or it could be with your faith. It could be with an instrument or something like that. You got to take those baby steps, and you got to fail a lot.
Right.
Fall on your face.
Yeah. As we love
you got to learn from that and correct it and play off of what you're doing. So I definitely learned just how to take it a grain of salt and just understand, like, I'm playing my game. And I mean, we were playing from those pro tees, like.
Oh yeah, guys, we didn't play we don't play from the shorts. We don't do that here.
And for anyone that's not really familiar with disc golf, it's very similar to ball golf. Same idea. You're just throwing off of a tee pad into a basket. Look up some of the pro coverage. It's incredible. A lot of fun. It's a great way to get out there, have fun with your friends.
Yep, easy
get
exercise.
Get some steps in, be outside.
I was just gonna say that I'm opening up this Dream Float Alani. I've had it before, but
yeah,
we're just gonna.
Also, I'm trying
real quick. There we go.
My beverage of choice. I have a Rain orange dreamsicle. I'm trying to get. I've been tagging Rain in a lot of my posts.
Come on, Rain.
And they've been responding to it, but they should. You should give us free Rains and we can promote it. That'd be sick.
We will drink one every day.
Every day.
And we will post about it every day.
Every day.
So, that right there should be a win-win for everyone.
Oh yeah. But yeah, overall we'll get into it in a second. But overall, just amazing time. I love traveling to Joey's and Wes. It's
so easy.
We were just saying,
gosh.
Yeah, it's so perfect. We literally we wake up, we shower, we get ready, we go, we get energy drinks, we grab a little bit of food, and we just disc golf. And then we go get more food and we disc golf some more. That's literally like all
Rinse,
we do.
repeat.
So very, very blessed and thankful for having them as roommates and also just travel buddies. We've been traveling a lot the past several years.
Yeah, I'd say like the past
4.
I would say even longer, like 5 years.
5 like big trips.
Yeah,
we've had a lot of big trips, and I'm glad we said years ago in high school, like, oh, let's travel. And then we started doing it.
Right.
So get out there and travel. Go see the world. If you don't have a ton of money, you can make money later. But if you're younger, you have more time. And if you're a little bit older, hopefully you have more money to have those opportunities to do that. But go see God's creation because it's sick.
True.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it makes you slow down, and really appreciate those changing in the colors. And that was something I want to talk about. Like, why are people so obsessed with fall?
Because it's perfect.
Like, guys, let us know in the comment section. Obviously, our comment section goes crazy.
It does.
But let us know in the comments like why you love fall and like what your favorite thing to do in fall is. But I've always thought that, like, why are people so obsessed with fall? Like, what is it about fall, especially in the Midwest? Like, what is it about fall that people love so much? Obviously, the change of leaves is cool. Yeah. And like, maybe people are getting sick and tired of the heat. That's how it is for me, because like at my job, it's hot and things get hot. But I don't know what it is about fall that people like obsessed with it.
I have a couple of reasons.
Okay.
One, I was actually just thinking about the other day. I think people in Wisconsin, so for anyone that doesn't know, we're from Wisconsin in the Milwaukee area. I think people in Wisconsin are not very patient when it comes to the seasons.
Definitely not.
I think we're very blessed in this state with the amount of season that we get every single season.
Yep.
And it may not be for super long, except for winter. Winter just drags.
Yeah,
but
that one sticks around for a
it's
little
because it's cold for so long.
Yep.
And then we hit like the hot days of 80, 90 degrees. And I don't do well in the heat. I don't like it when it's like 90. After a month or two of that, it's like, okay, I'm ready for it to cool down again.
Yeah.
And I think people we're so used to the season change that they get antsy about it. But also, probably. I don't know, just the colors are beautiful. You can't deny it. The colors are beautiful, definitely. And it's refreshing.
Yeah, it is.
And I feel like I don't know, it's just
maybe like the Starbucks drinks too is another factor for all those people that love Starbucks.
Because Joey's and we love coffee.
I do not love coffee. That's false.
I love coffee.
Luke
Joey's
loves coffee. I hate coffee. Yeah. And then he always tries to get me to drink it, but it's not. That's no good.
I don't know. It's just something about having like a nice warm cup of coffee in the morning when it's cool and brisk outside. It's perfect.
No, I get it. I mean, if I had a chai, exactly. That's
hot
what
chocolate.
If I had chai every morning, like, yeah, for sure. I understand that part of it, but yeah, the coffee taste is just too bitter.
And I get it too. It's the pumpkin farms, apple farms. Mm-hmm. It's a good date idea. It's a good thing to go do with. Like, I have
a good what?
A good date idea that we don't have.
I was gonna say, what's that? What's a date?
Take notes, ladies.
Yikes.
Or it's just like to go with your family, like my nephews and my niece. It's always fun to go do stuff like that with them, with your family. So that is my guess to why people love fall.
I think those are good answers. It's just so funny that like as soon as people, it's like middle of September, everyone starts posting on their stories about like, oh, I can't wait till the leaves change. It's just so funny that like we're all obsessed with it. Like I'm obsessed with it. I love it.
Yeah.
Perfect time of year, really. But yeah.
Could it also do with how people appreciate things maybe more when it's a shorter time span? So you think about fall itself isn't like super short, but the actual beautiful part about fall that everyone loves is short.
Yeah, because the trees get all brown, or the leaves get brown rather, and then the oranges fade off.
Yeah, so like these few weeks are like perfect. It's still like it was 70, a little over 70 today.
Yeah, it warmed up. It seems like it's gonna stay a little bit warmer too, but
and then it cools down at night and during the day. So like you get that cooler, crisp weather, but you have the beautiful color of the trees. Mm-hmm. People are out and about doing things. You have that opportunity to go to pumpkin farms, apple farms, but then after those few weeks, all the leaves falls off, and to me, it just kind of looks ugly. It looks bare and dead.
Yeah,
and it just gets cold.
Right, and then next thing you know, right.
I think there's something to it of just people learn to appreciate the things that aren't. They know it's not going to be around for super long. Mm-hmm. So that could be it too. But
if only we did that with everything,
right?
One
thing we can kind of get into it. One thing I wanted to ask you, and I can kind of answer this myself too, but since we're just talking about traveling, and I'll say it off the bat, I always do this, and I did it again. I fall off the train when it comes to my disciplines.
Here we go. This is what I wanted to get into.
It's so tough, and there was moments.
Yeah.
And so when I travel, it's like you leave your job, you leave your normal routine, and you go and do something else. Like that's the point of a vacation. But a lot of times I feel like I just like my job, I'm leaving my faith on a vacation.
Yeah.
And not saying like there's still times when I was praying and I did read the word a little bit, but not nearly as much.
It's so funny you bring that up, because that's exactly what I was gonna bring up after you're saying all that. But yeah, like I packed my Bible, I brought it with me, and I did not open it once. Like the entire time I was in the car, I ended up reading the Silmarillion, like a couple chapters of that, but I never ended up reading the Bible. Like I brought it with intention that like, oh, like this will be a good time for me to, stay consistent. And like Milo and I have been reading Proverbs, and so I've been trying to read Proverbs every day, which has not gone too well. But I did well in the beginning, right, and then it faded off. And that's what I kind of wanted to talk about, is like consistency, of like how to stay consistent, like, and not have these moments or these periods of drought where it's you go like, because I do that a lot in my life, where I read a lot, I'm doing all these things, I'm on that spiritual high, and then I kind of plateau and then drop off, and then I'm like, all right, I need to kick it back up into gear. But yeah, it's funny you brought that up, because I literally brought my Bible, never even opened it. But one thing I did realize, which is awesome, and where I feel the most connected is in nature. And so like when we were in those courses, just like taking that moment of like, before we're throwing or whatever, just like looking around and realizing how lucky. I forget what I said exactly. It was like, remember where you are.
Yep.
I kept saying that, of like, no matter how bad we play, like how many errant shots we had, or, shanks, right, Brandon? There you go. No matter like how many bad throws we had, it's like we're still in like this incredible place. So like let's enjoy every moment of it, because like we're in this awesome place. So like let's like make the best of it,
Absolutely. And it's like I was saying the other day, a couple days before we headed back from our trip, is we've played in so many different courses around the U.S., but now you played a course in France, which is sick, and we got the opportunity to play a course in Canada. So that's 3 countries. For you, 3 countries, that's sick. And we played multiple very difficult like pro courses. And you think about like the average player, the average person, they're kind of just playing like local courses. And even if we play like complete dog trash for some of them, which it happens, it's like, and we could do very well too, but it's, we have the opportunity. We literally get to take off work, travel, and just go play disc golf. Like that's sick. It's a lot of fun.
We're extremely lucky, because not a lot of people can say that they can just drop the time to go and do that. Yeah. So like, I knew I was blessed being able to do it, but yeah, it's just like finding those moments of like, really trying to appreciate where we were and just be in that moment and soak it all in, because one day we won't have the amount of time that we have now.
Yeah.
But I don't know how this works in with our consistency. But yeah, just like that was one good part. So like, yes, I fell off of not staying in the word, but like also appreciating the beautiful nature that was around us, and, in creation, and then just seeing what God did, his handiwork, as people like to say. But I've just always felt that way. Like, I haven't gone to church in probably 3 years now, and my church is, this, I would say, and then our Bible study is my church, and then just like, not that my church is being out in nature, but like where I'm connecting with God, on that spiritual level of, I don't feel in my life right now that I need to be like at the building church, we'll call it.
Yeah, and really quick too, just side note, just a reminder for people: church is not a building; it's the people. So from what Joyce is saying is like, it's good to go to your traditional church, and we encourage it too. But like, the church is your people, and you can have a home church, you can have church literally with the people. The people make up the church, not the building. Yeah,
so. I'm not saying that it's bad, but no. For me in my life right now, excuse me, that is just where I'm at with that.
Yep.
And so like, I know that that's working, and when I'm ready to go back to a building church, I will.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm like closing that off and like saying like, no, I'm not going back to church. It's just that it seems that it's just working really well. Because, like, even when I was in church before, like, it just I never really felt connection with God, and it always kind of felt, like, phony. Because, like, there's always just been that aspect, shout out Noah, it's always been that aspect in church that, like, that it's just felt like kind of not ritualistic, but, like, you would just listen to the music, you'd sing along, you'd hear the verse, and then you'd leave, and then you'd forget everything you heard. And then that was that. That was my church experience. So, like, doing what I do now, I have to actually, like, prepare. Not saying that I couldn't for the next week's service, but I'm preparing, whether it's for our podcast, whether it's for our Thursday night Bible study. But this is kind of open a new door for me, a new avenue for me to really express myself, one, and two, like, further my walk with God. Because if I don't always want to do the podcast, full transparency, like, I don't always want to do it, but I know that I have to. And, like, same thing with Bible study. Like, I don't always want to. And, like, it shouldn't be that way, but that's just how it is. Like, that I don't always want to do these things, but I know that I will get so much more out of it when I do it, because I know that's the way that God is, like, fulfilling me. So I know that I just need to keep doing the thing, as I always like to say, just keep doing the thing and trust that God will continue to work through that avenue.
There's definitely days, like, I mean, today's Saturday. We kind of switched up this will be posted on a Friday, but there was no way we were coming back and doing this on a Friday. When we got back from our trip yesterday, we planned to have it today, just to have a morning of just to kind of sleep in and rest. And there's definitely Friday afternoons after work where it's like I come home and I'm tired, and then it's like I kind of want to relax, play video games, just hang out, watch something, do whatever. And I'm like, I got to get the podcast stuff set up. I got to prepare for it, get in the mindset, and get ready for everyone to come over. I mean, I absolutely love doing this. We're very blessed to have the opportunity. But yeah, even like on a Sunday morning, I know I talked about it before, there's like, like that could be my one day to sleep in, because Saturdays I'm doing the other podcasts and stuff, but it's like, I know I need to, and I know I should. And it always feels good to take the time to do it. But back to the traveling and kind of what we do or don't do for our faith and our disciplines. I know I find myself, like you said, in nature, just praying more, and it's not very long prayers. It's very quick, short prayers of just being thankful, and it's a lot of gratitude during the trips, because you realize you're away from work, you don't have like any stress really, unless you have to like travel and like be somewhere at a certain time, but just a lot of gratitude goes through my head, and it, I'm thanking God for just His beauty that we get to be in His creation. That we have good bodies, healthy bodies for the most part. I mean, we have some.
My body's broken.
My neck was hurting. Joy's your elbow, your arm. My back was tight. But it's just like those are very minor things. But
by the way, we're 26-year-old. 26-year-old guys. Like, can someone help us here? Like, what's going on? Like,
No, we're just very blessed. So just being very thankful, that God has blessed us with healthy bodies, healthy lives, and we have the opportunity to travel and go do stuff that we love to do. And like I said, I definitely was not in the Word as much as I wanted to. There was a couple nights that I was, but it just sometimes it's like, we're disc golfing all day. It just, for some reason, it takes so much out of you. It's a lot of holes to throw. And you get back and you shower and you eat and you just want to like sit down. And just like turn off your mind. But that's something that I want to do my next trip, and we can challenge each other, whether it's a family trip or an individual trip or together, of just even, we have the time.
So much.
Like even in the car, just maybe even taking it, whether it's in the morning, taking 10, 15, 20 minutes to read, or even just praying more, just, or even having more conversation about it too. Just like, where are you at? So that's something I want to challenge myself and challenge you.
Yeah, totally.
To challenge me, for me to challenge you, to challenge each other. So
challenge every day.
Yeah, it's just encouragement. I need to make sure that I don't leave my faith at home while I'm on vacation and then pick it back up when I come back. So definitely guilty of that. at times for sure.
Yeah, it sucks because like, it's like why do we do that? Like we only are able to do that because because of God, and then we put him in the back seat, and then we're like, oh, like this is our time, like it's like our selfish time that we're just like we're so selfish with it that we're like, no, like we have this 1 week that like we get to do what we want, and like we just push God aside, and we're like, no, like I just want to do this and not really not think about it, but like just do what I want to do with my time because it's me.
Yeah. I'm also I do well in routine. Doesn't have to be like strict down to the T, but I like knowing, okay, I work at this time. We got the podcast this time. I got to be here around this time. I have like a window here, a window there that I can get stuff done. So
yeah,
for me, when I'm in routine, I do a lot better, like reading, praying on my way to work.
Yeah.
Praying before bed.
Sure.
I try to fill in the gaps throughout the day too, but like reading my Bible before I go to bed, it's like kind of routine. Like I know I have the time, I can get it done, and I want to do it. But I feel like when I get out of my routine, it's very easy for me to make excuses or be like, oh, I'm on vacation, I'm doing this. I don't really have the time, or just kind of forgetting about it. So I just need to do better.
Same.
And just kind of don't make that excuse. But like I said, I do well in routine.
Yeah.
And I know I can, because we all have the time.
Right.
We just need to make sure we fit it in there, because we fit in everything else that we want to do.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Why can't we fit in?
We can. It's just we choose not to.
Yeah.
So that's something I need to do better, as, don't make the excuse of not being in my routine and keeping it in my life. Because it shouldn't be a routine thing. It should be a life thing.
That's true. Yeah, I like that. Put that on a t-shirt.
Yes. It shouldn't be a routine thing. It should be a life thing.
Yeah. I mean, kind of like those shirts that you always get from wherever. I could see that.
So, yeah, that's all I really had on the... Do you have anything else for the traveling? Otherwise, I had another question.
Oh, you got a question? All right.
Yeah. Let me
I just, like if you guys have the opportunity to go and travel, I mean, obviously it's easier said than done. Oh, just go and do it. But I feel like that's where I've learned a lot about myself, or, just had that time to relax. So like, just give yourselves some grace, whether it's a day off or whatever, but just take that time and then use it wisely.
Absolutely.
Also, I started a rock page. Please go follow it. Joe DE Rock Guy. I'll be posting agates, me cutting agates, me finding agates, mostly agates, but I'll throw some jaspers and stuff in there.
I can throw it in your handle, right? That's what you call it on Instagram, your handle.
I think so.
Yeah.
Did they change it?
I don't think so. I was just making sure. I'll throw it into the description.
Cool. If you guys like rocks like me, then boom, there you go.
I like rocks. I like you. I still haven't found an agate. Maybe one day.
Yes, you will.
Yes. That is a goal. I need to find an agate.
That looks cool, folks.
And then I can be featured on the page. And then
True.
I'll know everything I need to know about rocks.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I had another quick question.
Okay.
So, Joyce, what is one thing you are looking forward to with the podcast, just like in the future?
Ooh.
Or just like in general, like what's...
Okay. Probably our guests. I don't know if I'm stealing your answer here, but we have a lot of gifted friends that...
Yes, we do.
They have a lot to share about themselves. They're really like charismatic people. I feel like I'm not really a charismatic person myself, so it's cool to have maybe someone that's more extroverted and charismatic and just like that likes to talk about, I don't want to say themselves, but like they're they
have something cool about themselves.
They have something cool about themselves that they are really passionate about. It's like really passionate friends, I would say.
Absolutely. I mean,
whether
we
it's
have
gym, their brand, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we have like you're passionate about a lot of things, like rocks. Like literally, you just started your own rock page, which is awesome.
I know it took me this long to do it.
That's okay.
It's funny.
it takes time, like. But you're passionate about disc golfing. You like skateboarding. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're like as passionate about it anymore.
No, it's just more.
Just like a fun hobby. Yeah. But it's cool. We do have some guests lined up actually for the next few episodes, which is gonna be really cool.
I would say that then.
Yeah,
that's what I'm excited for. Also, just like I always think of this too, of like obviously we're not like a very big podcast, but you just never no. But like,
that's okay.
We just need to remind ourselves that like it's not really about that, like it's doing a lot for me in my own life, not selfishly, but like it's doing a lot for me. So like I know that if I keep doing this, that it's gonna keep. This is one of my avenues that I was talking about. It's just gonna keep furthering my faith.
Yeah.
So like if anything, it's just like it's doing well for me and it's doing well for us as friends. The 6 of us to come together, or 5 of us, even 2 of us now to come together. Like we know that we're committed to this and that we're going to continue to do it, not just for us, for the followers, for everyone. It's like a community.
Yep, absolutely. And I have, the cool thing too is like I have felt not the biggest community, but I have felt like we have started a type of community, and it's not about us.
No.
It's about the community. It's about everyone, and it's about God. Just being able to, our goal is that the listeners and viewers out there can take something away that's going to draw them closer to God. And maybe it's a question that stirs in your mind that God placed in your mind, that, he spoke through us, that, maybe just makes you want to dig to find more answers because you're not really sure about the whole God thing or about your faith. And maybe it's a question for someone, or it's something we say to someone who's been a follower for years. And maybe it's just something that they haven't really heard it that way, that they can take a different perspective or take something different away from it. So, it's all about building community. We want, I've had people from the gym. I've had people from church. We really appreciate that, guys. Thank you for that. It's really encouraging to have people give us compliments. And once again, it's not about us, but it's nice to know that people are watching, are listening, and they're taking something away from it. So whether it's just for entertainment or it's, for their faith purposes. Also, really quick too, we are still a small podcast, and that's okay. But if you're watching this video on YouTube, do us a favor and click that little subscribe button underneath the video. Nice little click. We really appreciate that. And leave a like. Leave a like and a comment. Press a little thumbs up and comment anything you want. Good, bad, whatever.
Ugly, mostly ugly.
It's all good for us. So
yeah.
Yeah. I would say one thing I'm looking forward to in the future for the podcast is just to see our growth.
Mm-hmm.
If you look back for any of those followers that have been with us since day one or have seen the first video,
oh no.
As you can tell, things have changed a lot.
Yeah.
And I think we can all agree for the better. But
yep.
We were just 6 dudes who decided around a campfire, like, hey, let's start a podcast. Mm-hmm. That's where the name came from too, the Campfire Council podcast. Shout out Milo for the suggestion. Great name.
Totally.
And the whole purpose is just to have laid back campfire talks.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about God, talking about our faith, talking about life, anything. And yeah, it's just kind of crazy, just like the quality, like the everything, just like how we just literally, I had no idea how to do it. We just jumped into it.
We just jumped in. I think that's the best to do things though. Like just do it because you love it, and like, yeah, you don't know all the steps and everything, but like just learning the process, you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah. And also do your part by doing your research and doing your best to understand.
Yeah.
You can only do so much of that though, but
right.
At least get the basis of like what you need to purchase, what you need to do, how to prepare for anything, podcast, sport, any whatever, and I kind of I looked up some stuff. I did some research, and we went to Guitar Center one day. We bought an audio interface.
Yep.
Ordered some mics.
That was the day that I knew that it was actually going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Cause like you were like, all right, let's go to Guitar Center. I was like, oh, Guitar Center. I haven't been there in years.
Yeah. And that's something too I've been learning is like, you can talk all you want about things. You can get excited about it. You can get whatever it is. You can, tell yourselves, I'm going to do this, but it doesn't happen until you do it. So that's also another go. If you have an idea, if you have a passion that you've been wanting to do, you've been talking with your family, your friends, like go do it, go try it.
Yeah.
And if you spend the money or you take the time and you fail at it, that's okay. You tried and you failed, and that's good. And hopefully it actually works out for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll probably take time, lots of time and practice. But, you know, I think it's much better to try something that you love or you might love and are passionate about and to fail than to always dream about it, talk about it, and never try it.
Yeah.
And then you never get to know. Because if you tried and you failed, you gave it your 100% and you failed, you know that you can go to bed at night and be like, I tried and it didn't work out. And that's okay. And there's going to be hopefully something else that I can go about. So, you know, if you have a passion, if you've been dreaming about, you know, the dream job, the dream vacation, whatever it is within your means, like, go for it. So, so I'm just looking forward to growth, to see where we're going to be. We're coming up on a year at the end of November, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So I think about,
let me check.
Because we started posting to YouTube in December, but I think we started recording in November.
I feel like that's right. I'm just checking our YouTube just to see.
No, because I posted to YouTube right away, though. So maybe it was beginning of December.
It joined November 24th.
Okay.
So kind of a crazy stat here is 18,793 views for all of our videos or just the page. So that's kind of cool that, like, you know, at least almost 20,000 people have at least, like, seen it or looked at it. So you never know the impact of how great or small that could have been.
Yep.
Which is another good reason just to be even doing this.
Yeah.
You know, this is us going into all nations, whatever. Where's Noah for my Bible verse? Noah.
Bible man.
He's not here, but, you know, going into all the nations and spreading the word and letting people know the love of Jesus Christ. You know, that's what we're doing here. Like, we don't need to be going to Germany, to Thailand, to wherever. It's certain people need to do that, but I don't necessarily have that calling, or at least yet. So it's cool that, you know, that we have at least almost 20,000 people that have seen that and maybe checked it out and like, oh, it's a Christian podcast, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And like George was saying too, you know, there are going to be people, maybe it's you, who are being called to go overseas and be a missionary, speak the word of God. And it, you know, like for Joyce and I, at least right now, we're not necessarily feeling called to go do something like that. I've gone on some short-term missions trip, and those are amazing. Highly encourage those. But remember too that your home, your school, your church, your workplace, your sports team, whatever it is, that's your mission field too, and always will be. So we need Jesus here in our community just as much as we need Jesus in all the different nations.
Right.
So, but this is, I feel like this was a calling for God in our lives to buy some microphones.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really even like a calling for me necessarily. It was like, it was a calling for you. It was something that you like really were considering. I had no idea that you were serious about it. You know, we're all sitting around the campfire just like, oh, you know, like, yeah, that'd be a cool idea. And then, you know, our trip ended. We got home, and then you started looking at stuff. And then I think, we went to Guitar Center, and it was like, oh, wow, like, he really wants to do this. Like, oh, I guess we're doing it.
And honestly, I do think it's really funny, too, how God works, because I probably, from what I remember, I probably wanted to start out of, like, selfish, like, ambitions of, like, oh, let's start a podcast. It'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we can get a good following. We can get a good community going to people to watch us, and, like, that'd be really cool. And God kind of turned my heart around to be like, no, like, you're not doing this. That's not the purpose of what you're doing for this podcast. It's for my glory, not yours.
Yeah.
And I have all of you guys on the podcast to remind me, and I need to remind myself too, that, you know, we could be, any podcast can get on and just talk, and that's entertaining. That's fun. That's not bad. But I do feel like God has placed in my heart that we have an opportunity, you know, why not talk about him? Why not share his word? Because what's a better place? Like you said, we don't have to be overseas to be doing this right now.
Right. Yeah.
You know, we can literally sit in our living room. Yeah. and we can take a couple hours out of our Friday night or Saturday, whenever we record, and post this for people to see. And I think that's really cool and it's really powerful. And I pray that, I pray every single time before the podcast for people to be impacted by it, and not through us, like ourselves, but through God speaking through us.
Yeah, I like that.
Our words, it's because I can't do this on my own. You can't do this on your own.
Nope.
The rest of the guys in the podcast can't. We can talk in a microphone, but it's God, the Holy Spirit, that's going to speak through us that other people can hear.
Yeah, that is funny, like how God works in funny ways. Because like I like I was saying before, I didn't feel like called to this. This was just something kind of thrown to me, and like that's how God has worked a lot in my life, where he's just kind of like just shown me this thing, and then
here you go.
Yeah, he's like, here you go, bud. And then it's like, oh, that looks cool, or like, oh, that seems like a good idea. And then I usually, go for it. So it's all kind of funny how that worked out.
Yeah.
I like when those things happen. It's reassuring.
Yeah, and I just felt I needed this too. I needed something to challenge myself more and to be held accountable more, because
yeah, totally.
Now, like the realization of when we first did that first episode, I was like,
yeah, like, oh, we're out there.
We have this out on the internet, on YouTube, on Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, that anyone can go back and listen to it. And once again, it comes back to, are we bearing good fruit? Like, am I saying the things, but then turning around after the podcast, after we turn everything off, and going to doing the exact opposite that we're talking about? And yes, it happens. I do fail. I'm a sinner. I fall short, Romans 6:23, but the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life, right? So I can't do it on my own. I'm going to sin, I'm going to fail, but it's through the grace of God that the penalty that I owe of death, like we can't pay that, but God is so gracious and so loving that he, sacrificed his son so we have that opportunity. So just a reminder that, we have people viewing and watching this, that I need to be holding myself accountable. I need to be held accountable, and just do my best to represent, Jesus Christ in the best way that I can.
I think that's like there's like a couple different scary things that kind of go along with that. It's like, before in my life, I never publicly like put it out there that I was a Christ follower or a Christian. I never really made that known. Like in conversation with people, sure, that's one thing. But then when you publicly, not necessarily, but like label yourself as something, people see that, and it's different, and they see you in a different way. So I think that was kind of scary, of like, how are the people in my life going to react to this? And like, at first it was just kind of like maybe a shock for some people, because I never really portrayed myself, and I never really made it known, because it was something that I was struggling with for so long, that like I was just getting back into my faith, when we had started this. Well, I mean, a few years before, when we started the Bible study, is like when I got back in my faith, which was like probably 4 years before we started the podcast. But it's funny how that led up to this, and then this will, do whatever it does. Maybe it ends in a month from now. Maybe it goes on for a few years, but
I sure hope not.
I mean, yeah.
You know what? And that's one thing too.
Right.
I pray, which I think is a very scary prayer, of like praying for particular things, including the podcast. Like, if it's something you don't want us to do, just shut it down.
That is a scary prayer.
Along with, and I want to encourage people. It's not in
God's plan.
Yeah, I want to encourage people to don't be afraid to pray for things like that. Like, I mean, I'm not in a relationship, but maybe for like a relationship, pray for the God to, give you an opportunity to meet the right person. And for me, I'll come back to, just pray for like the right person to be in your life. And if it's not the right person, ask God to just, shut that down and make it be very clear. I always ask God, like, make it clear, because I'm not always the smartest and I don't always catch those things.
Yeah, we don't always see it.
Yeah, and I really want to make sure that God's just kind of like,
yep,
like, hey, here's your sign, like here's so you know. And it's not always like that, but like for job opportunities, I always ask God, like, if this is something you want me to do, like open the door. Like for the other podcasts that I've been helping out with, I was praying about it, and I said, God, if you want me to do this, open up the door, and if you don't, just close the door, give it to someone else.
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously there for a reason, whether it's just to help them out, and that's that, or if it's to, maybe they start to, ask you more questions about like, oh, how's your podcast doing? And then that leads to, oh, it's doing well and this and that. And you guys are just talking about that and having that bond, but also being able to be a good witness to them.
Yeah.
And then, maybe they're curious and they want to talk more about Christ.
Yeah. It's cool. It's actually, some of the guys actually I think all of them followed our page.
Did they? Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
So yeah, shout out to Dumbbells and Doobies again. I mentioned them before. Like I said, they're not a Christian podcast, which is totally fine. They love to bodybuild. A lot of them are coaches, so they have a lot of knowledge on fitness and nutrition, and they're competitors, so they go on stage to compete for bodybuilding, which is awesome. Something I don't really quite have the discipline for. I love lifting.
Definitely not.
I love it, but I'm probably never going to get on stage. I just don't have that desire.
Sure.
But I always had that love for train lifting. But check them out, Dumbbells and Doobies. Good podcast, and I think all of them have followed our page, and
that's cool.
They've liked some, a lot of our posts that we make on here too. So
okay,
that's something I've been praying for, that just in general, that we can have a good impact on people. And like you were saying before, when we first started, how you never really openly proclaimed, at least on social media, about your faith.
Yeah,
I know there's probably plenty of people out there that are probably annoyed by us by posting these things, and you know what? That's totally okay, because guess what? We're gonna continue doing it, and
just gonna get that out of the way.
And that's just how it's gonna be.
I don't want to barge in, but I'm just no longer ashamed, at all.
No.
As soon as we decided that we were doing the podcast, there had to be a moment where it just, that switch just flipped on for me. It's I no longer care what people think about me, in the way that I'm proud to be a Christ follower, and I'll say that to anybody's face. I don't care, who they are or whatever. I'm proud to be that. And yes, I struggle. Yes, I sin. I've messed up so many times in my life, and I still continue to. And I'm really just trying my best. I'm not the perfect Christian. None of us are, but
none of us are.
I mess up a lot. And I'm trying my best to live this life that's really, it's hard to follow. It's challenging me constantly, but I know that it's the best route for me, and that I know that I'm going to spend eternity with Christ, and I'm going to be back with my loved ones one day, and that it's so worth it, and that this life here on earth, my mission is to show the love and joy of Christ to others.
Absolutely.
So I'm proud to be a Christian, and if you are too, leave a thumbs up. There you go. Nice.
Yeah, well said. That's something too, I think good is just I broke that barrier of being nervous about that too.
Mm-hmm.
Because before the podcast, I would share some verses or maybe some clips of some pastors or something like that. But it's different when you're actually when I make the clips and stuff, or Neil or Brandon, when we make a clip of ourselves talking.
Yeah,
that's scary too. At first it was, because it's
I could see
it's not, you're not, because at that point you're not posting someone else of what you, I like what they're saying. It's actually you saying it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different because not a ton of people watch the YouTube videos. I mean, a decent amount.
Sure.
But there's going to be more people watching the clips that we make.
Yeah.
And that can go literally anywhere. And
mm-hmm.
I would much rather have people get really annoyed by me, start to hate me, dislike me, unfollow me, whatever is on social media in real life, than for me to never put it out there, because who knows what the Holy Spirit's going to do.
Right, exactly.
And maybe that annoyance of they're always seeing it is going to be turned into a positive thing, because maybe over time they'll be you know what? I'm so sick of this. What's this all about?
Yeah. Well,
and maybe honestly, they'll give it a chance.
not that you are ever annoying, but that's how it was about you getting me back into my faith. Honestly though, like seriously though, because like it was. You just kept telling me like, hey, come to this Bible study, come to this there's gals.
Show it, yeah.
But like, that wasn't like the reason why I went, but I was like, it was more so just to please you. So I was like, okay, like Luke wants me to go, you know, like he's one of my best friends, so like I'm just gonna go see what it's all about. And then I end up, you know, seeing friends that I haven't seen in years from kindergarten, that they were like some of my closest friends at the time, and it was like, oh, that's weird. Like, what are they doing here? Like, that's crazy. And so that's what sparked it all.
That was Zach Reeder and Westbrooks, right?
Westbrook. Shout out, boys.
Shout out. We miss you guys.
Miss you guys. Hopefully you're watching, but if you're not, I understand.
If you're not, weird. Watch it.
But like that's how God works. You know, he used you in that way to get me back on track. And, you know, you just kept pushing me. And I kept telling you no. Like I just remember you're like, oh, you want to come to, you know, whatever night they had it. And I was like, no, like I'm good. And just kept telling you no, like. And then I was finally like at that point where, I was like maybe a little bit annoyed. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll just go. Like, you know, I'll just at least try it.
I'm obviously so glad you went. It wasn't just, I mean, it wasn't all just me. Yes, I did my part of asking you. It was God placed in my heart. But there was also people at group who knew you that were asking to, being like, oh, is Joey's ever gonna come? And that also encouraged me like to ask you, because I knew there was people that you know.
Yep.
And that I wanted you to meet, and just like in general. But that's another encouragement, or what we would like to encourage you to, is go join a Bible study. I think that's a really big beneficial part of your faith.
It's huge. I know it is for me. That's my church.
Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of growth comes into play, because we need, whether it's a sermon online, a sermon in person, a podcast, we do need someone that's going to be, I mean, whether they're older or younger than you, depending on your age, but someone who is more educated, wiser in their walk with Christ, that can pour into us and teach us. We need to be able to sit down and be humbly listening and learn from it and take notes and study. But it's also very beneficial, and you're going to grow a lot when you engage, when you have to open up, be vulnerable, and talk, because we are very blessed that we have, and people have come and gone with our Bible studies. That's just how it goes, and that's part of life. That's totally fine.
Love you guys.
Yeah, all of you guys. The people that we've met in Bible study, all amazing people. Beautiful, we hope you guys are all doing well. We pray that you guys, the whole point too, hopefully you guys are starting other Bible studies too. Like, that's the cool thing, is you can have a group, and it can, you know, people move away, get married, college, they move, just don't want to attend anymore, whatever it is. Hopefully then they can break off and start new groups and meet new people. Like, that's the goal. But we've been very blessed and beneficial to have people that we can learn to love and trust, that we can actually have good conversation, dig deep, and get vulnerable, because that's where the real growth happens.
Totally.
You know, I don't want that like surface level. And it's hard. It's hard sometimes. Don't get me wrong. It's like some days you just don't want to do it. Like, okay, I just want to kind of scratch the surface and be done.
Yeah,
but
it is easy.
It's nice to have people that you can be comfortable, that you know are not going to judge you. And you can just really open up and you're like, hey, I'm struggling with this, or I'm doing really well in this area, or even ask you the questions of like, how are you doing? You know, what's going on in your life? So join a group, join a church, or even start meeting someone with coffee that's maybe, you know, on that same path to you of your faith, that's maybe even older, more mature, more wise in their faith, or maybe you are that more mature, wise person. You know, find someone you can mentor, someone that you can pour into, because I know I need it, and maybe that person really needs it too.
Yeah, totally. And also, don't be afraid to reach out to one of us, whether it's our social media or just even in the comments. You know, don't be afraid to ask us really hard questions, or something you feel is stupid. Just shoot away. You know, we're just a message away, and we'd be happy to talk with you guys. So I know.
Yeah.
I'm always on Instagram, unfortunately. So like, I'm right there for the page. Luke and I both kind of do the social media for Campfire Council.
Yeah. So yeah. If you guys have like, once again, any questions, every time, don't feel you know, if it's personal questions, if it's faith related questions, if it's funny, random, nerdy questions, we'd love to answer like any of them, all of them. Also, you guys have prayer requests, shoot us a DM or in person. If you see us anywhere at the gym, church, the grocery store, wherever. Like, we would love to. We're not here to judge you. We're here just to love you. We appreciate all of you. So, send us your prayer requests. We'd love to pray for you, pray with you, and get to know you guys better. Get to know like the community a little bit better too. That's the cool thing about it is, it's nice knowing that people like in the area can listen and we can get feedback, whether it's good or bad. Like any even bad feedback that we can improve on is good. Hold us accountable too. If we're saying something that's out of line, that's not biblical, or maybe you disagree with, like, put in the comments, send us a DM. We'd love to dig into it more and, kind of figure out what's going on there. But I did have another question.
I like answering questions. What?
Did you have anything else to go off of that ramble?
Not really.
Nice. Oh, dang. We're rolling through here. I feel like it's been like 20 minutes. It's been like 56 minutes. This is great. I'm having fun.
Honestly, sometimes it is more comfortable when it's fewer people. Just for me personally, sometimes I feel like I like having like those one-on-one conversations and just really, diving into whatever it is. Like I just, especially like being out in nature too. Obviously, we're not in nature. We're in our living room. Like just a space where everyone's comfortable and just getting to know someone. That's what life's all about to me.
Yeah. So what, if you can remember, what do you think has like been your favorite episode of the podcast so far? I know it's kind of hard to, maybe if you can pull up on YouTube if it takes a second.
No, I think I have a favorite actually. Kind of going off of that, like the intimate setting of, it was you, me, and Milo. The one about forgiveness
with the story of Joseph.
Yeah, I think we all just we all just brought something different to the table, and I think all of our different takes were just really spot on. So like if you guys are struggling with forgiveness or struggling to forgive someone, go make sure to check out. I want to say it's like episode 9. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I could be wrong. But yeah, if you want to learn more about how to forgive or feel like you need to work on forgiveness, that's a great podcast, because like we all had different things to bring to the table, and for me it was a nice way for me to kind of lament my grief, or like to get some grief off of my chest of just talking about it and kind of just explaining my thought process through forgiveness and what I've had to overcome.
Episode 11 on YouTube, close. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever. Episode 11 is on forgiveness, where Joey's, Milo, and I dig into forgiveness. That was we also had lamenting to episode 10 with, there was this Brandon, you and I, and kind of like you mentioned, lamenting just what it looks like to share your emotions and express how you feel to God. I think that was another good episode. I'm trying to think of, I don't know if that's necessarily my favorite. That was also a good one where it's just the three of us and just getting into like how do we express ourselves to God in a healthy way, because I struggle with expressing my feelings just in general with people sometimes, and I think it's sometimes even a little bit more difficult because in the back of my head I know God knows how I feel, but actually he wants us to actively tell him like how we're feeling,
say it out loud,
what's going on, because that's how a relationship works. Like I'm not gonna know if you are, I mean maybe I could tell by your body language, but if you're having like a terrible day, and if like you or another friend or someone else doesn't like actually tell me, I might not notice it. I don't always catch those things. And it's like by you then, or me telling you, it's like I then know you communicated, and that's how like a relationship works. And it's the same thing with God. What's my favorite one? I think I want to say,
let's do like the serious one and then the 0.5s.
Okay, a serious one,
because that's how it rolls here. We have our main topics, and then we've got our 0.5s, which are something special. Yikes. We've had some really bad 0.5 episodes.
That's
like
right.
Ones that obviously you could probably see where our order's off a little because we just had to like get rid of them.
Yep, those are our special ones that we just keep for ourselves.
Yep.
And that's okay. That's all part of like we tried a couple things.
Yep.
And it didn't work out, and that's totally fine. And like we've been doing this for just under a year, and we're still learning.
Yeah.
And things as you probably notice if you watch these videos or like listen, things have evolved and changed, and they're probably going to continue.
Is this where we blow up? Is this the one?
Joey's.
This is the one.
1 million views.
We blew up.
Yeah. Let me see here.
But like I said, I don't really care about blowing up. Like,
no,
it would be cool, sure, but like that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because it's part of my process right now, and in my faith of getting the word out to one or two people, even if one or two people listen. You know, that's cool. I appreciate you listening to me ramble or not make sense, because I feel like I'm not always good at that, and this podcast has helped me gotten better at talking too, which is another thing that you could probably like a conversation is easy when it's just you and me, right? Like, we're just talking like this, it's normal. But it is an added element when there's lights, there's the two cameras, there's, you know, that kind of nervousness knowing that people are going to hear what you say, and maybe like the judgment you think that they're going to have upon what you say. But I don't care.
I say screw the judgment.
I don't care.
Yeah, it's definitely something that it takes time to learn. I'm still learning. Like, I'll listen back to some of the episodes. I'm like, oh wow,
what was I saying?
Yeah, what was I saying? I tell you, I can't tell you the amount of times I'll start talking.
Yep.
And I'll realize I started talking. I need to go somewhere with this. And I'll like kind of say it. And outros. I'm sure, hopefully, plenty of the times the Holy Spirit kind of just takes over.
Right.
And I'm sure sometimes it's me just rambling, saying stupid stuff.
I think I've gotten. I feel like I've gotten past like the whole like camera thing. Like that part's gone. Like, that was pretty. I would say like halfway through it, I felt like, okay, like we're just talking. You know, I don't have to be like performing, or like I don't have to say the right thing. I can just say exactly what I'm thinking, because that's what this is all about. It's Campfire Talks. All about. That's what it's all about. It's just Campfire Talks with us. You know, we're just getting to know each other better and trying to, you know, do the best that we can.
Yeah. And it'd be one thing too if it was like live in front of people. That would be nerve-wracking.
Instagram Live, do we do it?
But we have the really cool thing about the podcast is
that'd be kind of fun.
We can make that would be actually pretty fun doing do
we do it?
IG Live. That would be. We'd have to get someone else to do it.
Yeah, that's true. Max
Altz. We could get, if we could find someone just to hold a phone for an hour.
Oh, I mean, we have mic stands. Oh, we don't have a third. Oh, does Noah have one?
We could, if we could get like the angle, but we could figure out. But like we could do. Thing. You could get like behind the scenes of the setup.
Yeah.
Us just kind of talking for a few minutes beforehand, and then like starting.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. And then if there's any goodies in there that we'd have to cut out, you get to see it. But that's the nice thing too is if we have to make a cut, I can just cut it out. That's like the nice thing. But it makes you. It helps you improve on just talking. Having conversation, which I think it can be difficult at times, because I think our generation, or a lot of people now, are so used to shorter conversations, being on their phones,
just texting, and
being, a lot less in the moment. And the nice thing I like about this is we're dialed in, like we're in the moment, because we're doing the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, I have my phone right here, but that's just for the podcast reason, if I need to look something up. But it's nice that we got the headphones on, and we get to talk, and we get to work on just having conversations. And even with the two of us, I was like, oh boy, is it gonna be hard to keep conversation.
I know. I feel like I was kind of worried, not necessarily worried, but I was like, where is this gonna go? And
it's kind of just going where it needs to go. Exactly. And we're rolling with it. I think we're doing I feel good about it.
I mean, doesn't feel any different.
My favorite main episode we've done so far, I think, is, for me personally, probably the Godly Patient one, episode 9.
Oh, okay, that was.
So I think that's the one I kind of led. It was just, I remember it was placed on my heart of me just really learning patience. Mm-hmm. And that's been a big part of my walk of just God really teaching me in many difficult situations of, we've said it before, God can bless you with giving you a gift or something, with just like, here you go. You no longer struggle with this, or you have this gift. But a lot of times I believe, you ask God for patience, you ask God to help you to love someone. He's not just always going to give it to you. He's going to give you opportunities to practice at getting better at those things. And God has definitely thrown me things to be patient about, but that's probably my favorite. And then my favorite 0.5, I'm going to say, is...
Oh, yeah, favorite 0.5. Maybe some of those early ones.
Boys versus Wild, 7.5. That was a good one.
I think everyone loved the idea of Brandon thinking that he could fight a rhino. I know a lot of people were talking about that one. It was funny. By a lot of people, I mean like 4.
Yeah. No, that was a funny one. That I really had a good time with that. We had some good
Yeah, I think we get some more like debate style things. Maybe even even like with faith related stuff, we could kind of get into some debates. I mean, we don't have to go like crazy far.
We don't have to go crazy far.
I mean, I like the sound of that. I mean, I'm for it. We just have to talk to the other guys, you know, like see what we would want to debate. But maybe if that's something that you guys would want to see, let us know.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite 0.5?
Oof, I should probably take I should probably
check
the
specs.
I should probably be checking the specs.
Also, if we ever get T-shirts or something like that, we're putting check the specs on there.
Yeah, we say that a lot. If you listen to the pod,
shout out to Brandon for getting that going.
Check the specs.
You always got to check the specs. And then if you want to, we can hop into the couple of questions we had. We're at just over an hour.
Okay. It's hard.
You could it's crazy that we almost started like a year ago.
Yeah, dude. What the heck?
And shout out to all the G's out there that've been following us since day one. We appreciate that. And props to you for sticking with us. I know we've had some interesting episodes.
Maybe 11.5. It was the boys talk about pineapple on pizza. Just another fun one to like debate.
Yep.
Because that one's so polarized.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
I remember that just being so cold out December.
Yeah. Because we were at the church.
At the church, yeah.
Yeah.
It's freezing.
So cold. But then that room was so hot.
Oh, dude, that room got so sweaty in there. Even here, we don't have AC in our house.
I think we mentioned that before.
Yeah. But we have like our AC units in our window. So in here with the cameras and a bunch of bodies, it gets real warm. Thankfully, it's starting to cool down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Or we're not super hot, which will be nice. But we can get into the questions. I know the one question that we had got deleted, but if I remember correctly, it said, what's one thing you can do to love someone or to show love towards someone? I believe that's how it was. I know it was deleted and I didn't get a chance to like have it pulled up, but
do you think they were talking about like to others, to like a friend, or just to like in general?
I think maybe just in general. Like it could be a loved one, it could be
I think just having those intimate conversations, like I was saying before, that like I like doing that with friends, of just one-on-one. You know, it's just, you know, whether you're grabbing coffee or tea or whatever, you know, it's just the two of you. You guys go for a walk, whatever it may be. I think just having intimate conversations with people, like it's some of my favorite things to do, because I like connecting with people. Like I love people. I'll talk to anyone. I think just having those small talks with people, just to give like your time to someone and to show them that you love them and that you want to hear what they have to say, and vice versa, that they want to hear what you have to say, hopefully. But yeah, I would say just showing them that you want to get to know them on a deeper level. I think that's absolutely something that like, it kind of like what you were saying before, like those on the surface level conversations, I'm just not a fan of. Like I don't last long in those conversations anyway. Yeah. So it's like I just want to get to know the person. Like just tell me your garbage, I'll tell you my garbage. Like
we're both weird. Yeah, we got crap going on.
We're both really weird. No, because then you just don't know where that conversation can lead. You know. And
I know you're good. You've been getting a lot of practice by getting right into it right away.
Mm-hmm.
I know for me personally, I'm not always the best at doing that right away. I know for me, sometimes it's several surface level conversations, and then we get into the deeper stuff. I know if it's different if it's someone that you like, a stranger, like your story you had several episodes ago about the man you met at the gas station, like that. You probably only had maybe that opportunity, so you took it and you dived into it.
Well, not the first time, remember?
Not the first time.
Not the first time.
Correct, but the second time. The second time you're obedient. You
opportunity arose.
God placed in your heart.
Yep. Also, shout out God for that. That was cool.
Yep, shout out God. He's a straight G.
I mean, he is the original G.
He is the original G. Yeah, but I know sometimes for me sometimes we need to just get into it right away. and sometimes
I think you just got to feel it out,
correct.
like with whoever it is, maybe you can tell that they're more of a defensive person and they kind of stick to themselves, so you got to pry into them a little bit. Yeah. Speaking of that, maybe Brandon. I think when I was getting to know Brandon, I think like one of the first things I said to him was like, I was like, oh, like I really want to peel back those layers, because like I knew there was more to Brandon, and I could get the sense that he was not holding back, but just he maybe wasn't fully explaining himself, or that he maybe had a defensive part to him. Not like it wasn't like this obvious thing, but it was more something that like I just noticed about him, and like I just knew that I wanted to get to know him better. Yeah. And it's funny how that worked out, because like now I know him very well.
Now you're stuck with us, Brandon.
He's stuck.
Oh, one thing too, we'll circle on back to this, the men's retreat. I want to bring that up really quick after we answer the questions.
We should explain what that is, and then also like what we're doing. Maybe some goals.
That's a good idea. We'll put a pin in that. We'll kind of do the questions. We'll do a quick men's retreat overview. So
just giving the time to someone. You? What do you got?
I definitely agree with that. I would say too, if you have the opportunity, I know, a lot of times people ask you for like an event, like go to an event or to hang out, something like that. Like take that time to do it. I know you said take the time for conversation. That comes along with it, but I think that goes a long way. Mm-hmm. If someone's like, hey, I have, maybe they're performing, or they have like
or they need help moving.
They ask you for help, or they ask you like, hey, would you like to go even grab a drink, or do you want to go grab lunch? Like, it's so easy to say no. And I know sometimes we do need to say no, just because we need to learn how to say no, or, slow down. But especially if it's someone you don't really know that well, or you don't necessarily like call a friend, even if you don't want to, like, say yes and give that person a chance. Mm-hmm. Because maybe they just need a friend. Maybe they just need to have a conversation with someone. Maybe they just need to be with someone that can show them love.
Or just to listen.
Exactly. Yeah. It doesn't need to be all the time. It doesn't need to be your best friend. It doesn't need to be 24/7. But maybe there's that one coworker that's been nagging you. Like, hey, let's hang out. Let's grab lunch. And it's just no after no after no. Mm-hmm. Maybe give that person a chance.
Yeah, like, why do they keep asking you? Like, maybe there's something to that.
And like I said, it's, yes, sometimes we just say no. Sometimes it's like a bad situation overall, but that's, it's a different conversation. But maybe God is always having that opportunity be brought up because he's placed it in your heart. Mm-hmm. And that's something I need to work on too. I know there's situations I don't want to be in. There's people I might not want to talk to, but it's not what I want. It's, it's God's will. So just be open to that. Take that time to, maybe you're invited to an event. I think it can go a really long way, and someone's going to really appreciate that. And maybe through that you can have a really good conversation, or even by just showing up to someone's, let's say a basketball game or something, and they see you in that crowd, that might go a really long way.
Yeah, they'd definitely be hyped.
Just be like, oh, wow, like that person actually, like, they cared enough to remember and to show up and take time out of their day. And I think that's going to go a really long way, and it can be a great example of showing their love of Christ. So
yeah, those are good answers. I feel good about
it. Did you have one more question, or was that it?
We got a flip on last week's question. It was, who do you like most? Which is also kind of a pot stir, because it was last week. It was, who do you like least in the podcast? Who do you like the most?
Oh, that's a good one.
And now it's just the two of us. Huh. That's funny.
I think the nice thing, the really cool thing about having, because a typical podcast looks like this, maybe 2, 3, 4 people.
Right.
Very rarely it's 1 or maybe over 4. There are podcasts out there, but I like the dynamic that we have within the podcast. We're all very different and all very similar.
Yeah.
And I like how we can each bring a different thing to the table, which is really good, because we don't always agree on everything, obviously, as like you think, back to the pizza, pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, right.
Like, us versus the wild. We had like those debates. Even when it comes to certain things about like our faith, like little things that aren't the core values of our faith, but like little things that are added on.
Which I think some, good debate.
Which you do need.
Would be good.
Yeah, you do need to have. Not everyone should be 100% in agreement with everything. We should have things that we can challenge each other with. That I'm like, no, what about this? Mm-hmm. Favorite person?
How about you, since you're here?
Yeah, that works.
There you go.
Or
that's my way of getting out of the question.
Or I could say, and I could say you, Joyce. I think you've been the one person that's been here the entire episodes, every episode. Nice. I love everyone, and thank you for showing up. And that's okay that you're not here. It was kind of cool to do like just two people.
Yeah, I think we both learn. You can learn a lot from just having that intimate conversation, like I was saying before.
Pretty much what we're saying is the rest of you guys suck.
Yes, they do.
So you're cut. You're off the team.
Garb.
No, that's a funny question. Yeah, last week's was funny too. Our last episode of who was your least favorite.
But yeah, I think we jump into our men's retreat that we're doing. So the church that most of us attend, or some of us don't, Crossway Church runs a retreat out in Iowa for just men only, and I think the reason for that is I think it's good to do that to separate yourselves sometimes for just being guys, just being girls. I think it's good to do that. I think that maybe, you could be more comfortable in that setting, or I think it's good to be good men being around good men, or just
Absolutely.
Good men being around, like those older guys that can pour into our lives, and that maybe we can show them something, whatever it may be. I think it's a good idea, but we're going out to Iowa. Basically, it's a guy's retreat, so pretty much just guy activities, and then there's the sermon. They invite a speaker, so I'll be interested to see who that is this year, and it's something that we've done over the years for a pretty long time.
Is this like
I
want to say this is my 7th year.
Okay, 7th, nice.
Yeah, because I started going we started going when we were 18.
Yeah,
because your dad and Max Holtz.
Mm-hmm.
Philski, shout out Philski. Max, thank you for inviting us that first year. That was
right.
That was a big push. I know we didn't really. The thought of it is like, oh, we're just gonna go a bunch of men at church, because this is when we weren't like really serious about our faith. Like we did attend church, whatnot, and we were in before we'd go to youth group.
Mm-hmm.
But I went and I absolutely loved it. It's shout out Village Creek Bible Camp. Great. You guys do a great job. That's awesome. It's a lot of fun. I like that it's like 3.5 hours away, because
you're removed from society.
Because if it was like an hour away, it wouldn't really feel like you're out. But it's in the middle of. It's a beautiful drive.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
In the middle of Iowa, and you get to stay in these cabins, and just a bunch of men, and you get a good dynamic of anyone between 18 and you could be like 90 years old.
Yeah, right.
We don't really have that many old guys, but it's nice just to have the men.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, we do a bunch of men things, guy things, like we're shooting guns, we're playing basketball, volleyball, eating a bunch of meat.
Every meal consists of some sort of meat.
It's great.
It's hilarious.
It's really cool, because one of my favorite things is it's like a Friday. You can go Thursday for an early. We always go Friday, take the day off and head up. But it's a Friday night through Sunday morning thing, and they have a speaker for the weekend. And typically, honestly, it's usually about sex. There's some kind of talk about sex involved, and that's something that we as men we really need. It's a huge struggle for a lot of us,
and that's probably why
I struggle with it.
What it is,
it's good. It's good to have that separation between the men and the women, because it can be awkward if you have like. Obviously, there's the sermons and messages at church about it, but you can really dive into it and just be straight up and raw. And I like that. I need that. Just like, here it is. This is how it's got to be. This is what needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I really love they have the message that they give, and they have a worship team. And one of my favorite parts is like, I'm not huge into singing. Like I'll sing at church more so to like myself. Sometimes either I'll hum, sometimes I'll kind of like sing quietly, and this is kind of like my way of worshiping. But when you get like for some reason every single year is when you have all just the men singing, it just like it gets to me. It's really cool, because you always think like, oh, like I'm a man, like it's not manly, or like how you get like that weird feeling about like worship or singing with just a bunch of men. But when you have all those guys, no matter their age, just open up and just like worshiping God, I think it's really cool. And like I said, I don't always sing. Sometimes I just listen.
Mm-hmm.
But just to hear that, I absolutely love it. It's really encouraging. So yeah, we'll have the next episode. We'll definitely do recap.
Yeah, let's do a goal each that we want to achieve on this, and then we'll come back next week, and then we'll talk with whoever's here, and then we'll talk about our goals and see if we reached them, and see how maybe we had a goal, but God took us somewhere else. Where I think one goal that I have, because it really happened last year with with Brandon, getting to know Brandon better, just having those really deep, intimate conversations with him, and getting to know him at a very deep level, I think was awesome, and I really really like that. So maybe if that can happen again, cool. If not, maybe I'm pushed somewhere else of doing something out of my comfort zone, or who knows what it is. But I would like to have another like deep conversation like that with whoever it may be. Mm-hmm. Maybe someone I don't know, maybe someone that I've known for years, but
yeah, I'm trying to think.
But I'm open to that
goal.
Or maybe not so, maybe just to like, I don't know, because you can't just go into like a retreat just to have the fun, like obviously it's a fun thing, but like I feel like we should be looking for something to take out of it.
Absolutely.
Like, and usually we do, but like maybe just to have something in the back of our head going into it, being like kind of having that be the reason that we're there, not just to hang out with the guys and have fun. Obviously that's good to do, but maybe just a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, one thing, I don't know if this is going to be my goal. I want to meet someone new
There you go.
that I haven't met from Crossway.
Okay.
I know it can be, some Sunday mornings can be difficult where I either sit with my family or friends, and it's kind of like you go to church, which is great. You listen, you worship, you talk to the people you're kind of around for like 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then I kind of bounce.
Yeah.
And Crossway has grown, and that's awesome. That's really good. It just can be difficult sometimes to go out of your way and go like meet someone unless it's a mutual friend where you're introduced.
Right.
Because it can be scary, like just walking up. Hey, I'm Luke. I'm weird. I've been going here for so long. It's like,
yeah, he's weird. Right?
But when you
know.
The cool thing about the men's retreat is everyone's in that space for those couple days. Where you're gonna be all eating together several times.
Yep.
They're gonna be all sitting down worshiping together several times. So it's like we have that opportunity to. And we talk to people. We've met new people, and it's really cool. But for sure, one thing I want to try going forward, and that I should be doing, is trying to meet at least one new person, one new man from Crossway, because they're a fellow. I mean, maybe they aren't a believer, but from what we know, they probably go to Crossway, or someone from Crossway invited them.
Mm-hmm.
So I would for sure like to do that. I don't really know off the top of my head a goal.
No, I think that's great. Just trying to find someone there that we can connect with. It's kind of like a mutual goal of like let's just find someone, whether they find us or we find them, that we're led to in some way, and that we can have a good conversation and get to know someone and maybe impact their life or they impact our lives.
Yeah. And I also want to have the opportunity with all of us as friends to go. The cool thing about it is we get to hang out like normal, but it's in a different setting where we had that weekend set aside. We don't have to work. We don't have to be anywhere. It's just we're there. And you had that opportunity to have those deep conversations with Brandon. And we had some good conversations last year and the year before too, and all the years. But I want to make sure I challenge myself as well to not just have like those brief surface level, but take that time when we have together as friends, as followers of Christ, and to get to know each other better. I think that goes a long way. But I'll for sure think of a goal before we leave, and come the next episode, we'll let the other guys know too.
Yeah.
To have like a goal, and we can kind of discuss that. And
I think it's a good idea.
We'll probably just kind of do a recap for sure of what went on, because there's gonna be some good stuff, and it's always a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that. If you have the opportunity, go on retreats with your church or with fellow believers or a missions trip. Go do something to get yourself out of the comfort zone.
True.
And you have an opportunity to go meet people, learn new things, go travel a little bit, go have some fun. So that's kind of what I got on that. You got anything else?
Let me think. Oh, the season finale of Rings of Power was awesome.
Yes.
Holy crap, that show is so good. I know we're completely switching gears here, but
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Good show. I know there's a lot of haters out there, and that's okay. You can hate.
Yep.
Joyce and I understand how to appreciate things in life.
We do. We have gratitude.
Yes. And it's that, having Rings of Power as a show, added to Lord of the Rings is I'd much rather have that than not have it at all. And that's all I have to say about that. So go watch Rings of Power. Go watch Lord of the Rings, the best movies ever created, period. Yeah. That's not even a discussion.
Right, we don't even need to get into that. It is cool to see, it's always been the theme in the Lord of the Rings is like light versus darkness. So there are like biblical themes about light and dark. So if you guys feel like, maybe it's too creepy or something like that, maybe you're not like comfortable with that style of stuff. I know for you like no more horror movies, but like, there's some good stuff in there some like good life lessons, some good.
I can promise you we have talked about Lord of the Rings. We will continue to talk about Lord of the Rings. Yes. And we will at some point do a whole episode on just Lord of the Rings because
yes, we will.
It is J.R.R. Tolkien. He is a Christian. He's passed away, but the whole story, and we'll get into it, the whole story is based on the journey of a Christian pretty much and on Christianity. So
or at least there's a lot of themes in it.
Yeah. Like you can for sure pick out and tell that the author that's kind of what he's pointed towards. But I think at some point we'll do a whole episode on it and it'll be really cool.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we might as well.
Well, I mean, we could do a whole 3 episodes,
for each movie.
Yeah.
Easily.
We got a lot of cool things coming up in the future. A lot of great guests coming on pretty soon. So we're going to have,
like we said before,
several guests on. So stay tuned with that. Thank you again for being on here with us. We appreciate all of you.
Totally.
Hope you guys took something away with just Joey's and I today. The two of us.
Bum, bum, bum.
And go challenge yourselves. Go travel, like we said. Get out there, enjoy God's creation. Go talk to someone. Try to really get past the surface level, get down to something really deep, peel back those layers, like you said. Really get to know them. Take time out of your day to talk to people. Maybe say yes to something that you just don't want to do, but it's going to show someone the love of God, the love of Christ. And pray for things in your life that you want to challenge yourself with, whether it's like patience, loving someone, whatever it might be. God will present you with those opportunities to challenge yourself. And through that, you can learn how to grow and get better at that. So, yeah. Off of that, remember, as always, to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share. This is the Campfire Council Podcast. Yeah, buddy.
Sir.
And that's how you do that.
That's exactly how you do that. Thanks for watching.